Hello. Yeah, I know I didn't text you, sorry, Gag. Um, Before I get started, Gag, I want you to tell me, does the title on your side, is the title on your side correct? Plasma Sword Blueprint. Expires in 6 minutes, I'm gonna have to go do that. Is the title on your side, Crash Course Warframe? Or is it the BlazBlue title still? Okay, good. Just making sure, because on my phone it still says BlazBlue for some reason. I don't know, I hate it. Um, Enough beating around
We
the
have
bush here.
located the enemy's planetary communication towers. Capture the towers and remain in control long enough to decode incoming messages.
This mission's gonna be awful, but enough beating around the bush here. This stream is it's gonna be sort of an educational sort of Warframe stream. Uh, because Warframe itself doesn't really teach you a lot about it. I mean, it does, but you've got to look pretty hard to find all the things you need to know. So basically, I'm gonna do this mission for the rare blueprint, or for the weapon blueprint, and then I'm gonna get into how stuff works. Uh, basic tutorial stuff, and then we'll get into other more complicated stuff later on. But right now, I'm just gonna do this mission for the blueprint, which we'll get into blueprints as well. That'll be one of the second or third things I cover in this stream. I'm gonna try and cover as much as I can. I'm gonna try and cover a lot of information. So, try and keep up. Because, I mean, I will repeat myself if somebody asks, but I'm gonna go over a lot.
This tower is ours
Because
now.
there's a lot to go over. Warframe's a pretty complicated game. And, as such, there's a lot to cover. I've got to go over mission types, frames, weapons, damage types,
You have captured a radio
mods,
tower.
enemies and all that, weaknesses and resistances, abilities, energies. There's a lot to go over.
The enemy have captured a tower. Tower online.
There's a lot more to cover in this than there is to cover in, a normal episode of Tech in School. That's for certain. So don't expect this to be an incredibly short stream.
Tower captured. Beginning stream decode
Because
now.
it will not be. And my apologies if you wanted to see a short stream, but I got a lot to go over. Like I said before.
The enemy have taken a tower. You must
I'm probably going to be
recapture
kind
it.
of quiet when I'm doing this
Tower
mission
online.
because this mission type blows for solo play. I'm just going to kind of concentrate on shooting people. It's captured, no conflict. About to be a conflict, I don't care, let them have it. I haven't done anything with Saren yet, no. I haven't got the nodes for her planet yet.
Tower lost.
I haven't
You
gotten
have
to the
captured
planet
a
I
radio
need
tower.
to get the Saren parts. She's like 2 or 3 planets away from where I am right now. Sorry. I mean, soon though. I've only got to do a few more things, and I'll be able to open up the junction. Saren's still a little
We are
while
in
away.
total control. Keep fighting.
Yeah, I figured. Get away from there.
We have lost control of a tower.
Really? We're gonna go over, once I finish this mission and get my blueprint, we'll go over prime frames and their differences. We'll
We are
go over
dominating. Keep it up.
affinities. We'll go over mastery levels. And I'm doing this stream because, you know, I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I know a little bit about Warframe. I've been playing it for a while. Since it came out on console, at least. I think I know enough to help somebody who doesn't know anything. Which is, you know, the point of the Tech in School series as well, is to help people who don't know anything about the games. And Warframe can be pretty alienating if you just turn it on and look at all the numbers and all the different things you can do and all the mods and all
The
that.
enemy have taken a tower. You must
It can seem
recapture
like a
it.
whole lot. It can be a pretty tough game to get into with how much you have to look at, all the processing that goes into it. And I'm hoping to make that a little less, I suppose a little less stressful on somebody who wants to play Warframe. Because it's a really good game. It's free. It's
We
10
have
out of 10,
control
probably the
of all
best free
4
game out there right
towers.
now. You know, for the amount of content that's in the game, it's ridiculous that it's free.
We have lost control of a tower.
You know, the graphics for a free game, you don't really expect too much, but, you know, I mean,
We have successfully
nowadays,
decoded the message. Clear the area.
any game can have good graphics, really, but I used the wrong ability. But I want to help people who normally wouldn't pick up Warframe because of how complicated it looks. I want to help them realize that it's a really good game and that they should give it a shot. Because I know some people would be turned away by all the numbers and symbols and different things that come with playing Warframe. And, you know, some people may be turned away by the time elements, which is understandable, you know. Instead of basing a lot of stuff on
Try and capture
microtransactions,
another signal. Be careful though.
they base
The
things
enemy
on
has
time.
surely rallied stronger
You don't
reinforcements.
really have to buy anything in this game.
Tower captured.
You can
Beginning
build
screen
everything with
replay
in-game
now.
currency and in-game items, but it takes time. Which I guess I can cover that right now since I'm just kind of doing this. Generally, a
This tower
Warframe,
is ours now.
which, you know, is what you play as a Space Ninja armor set,
Tower lost.
takes about 32 hours to fully build from the ground up. And that's for the
Tower
full
captured.
Warframe. You have to
Beginning
build all the
stream
parts for the
replay
Warframe
now.
as well, which take about 12 hours apiece, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. I mean, it's a lot easier to spend real-life money, but it's not necessary, which is nice. Ugh.
You have captured a radio tower.
If
The
I don't get the
enemy has
blueprint for
captured
doing
a
this, I'm
tower.
gonna be mad. I'll be honest, I don't even think I'm gonna build the weapon the blueprint's for, but it'd be nice to have. Because it's a pretty, I think it's a
We
pretty
have
rare
lost
weapon.
control of a tower. Tower online.
Capture D and I'll get an affinity bonus.
This tower is ours now.
Which we will talk about affinity once I get done with this mission. When I get back to the orbiter.
The enemy have captured a tower.
When I get back to the orbiter, we'll talk about affinity and weapons and all that. There's no enemies over here?
Tower online.
And we'll talk about mission types as well, because there's multiple different kinds of missions you can do in this game, each of which feels different and varied. Like a spy mission doesn't feel like an exterminate mission.
You must recapture it.
Whatever this mission
Tower
type is doesn't
captured.
feel like
Beginning stream decode now.
a spy mission. Come on, let me capture all 4 towers. Let me get that affinity bonus.
We have control
Okay.
of all 4 towers.
An excavation mission doesn't feel like any fun. It's a little joke. I hate excavation missions, I really do. Probably my least favorite mission in Warframe. Well, that was a mess. Instant death to everything that touched me, though. Anything I touched, more or less. No, you don't. And I don't know how long this stream's gonna go for, just as long as I feel like I need to explain everything in the game, really. Everything I want to explain, at least. Because I wanna catch Vinny's stream tonight, as always. I don't know if he'll be streaming, but if he is, I want to catch it. So, I'm just gonna stay down here by this tower because they don't seem to care about any of the other ones. And this mission's basically done. Yeah, no, I mean, it's basically done. All I'm gonna have to do is kill the last few enemies once.
Tower lost.
No, no.
Message decoded. Leave
Okay.
none alive. Good work today.
Did I get the blue?
Not only have we
Okay, I got the
decoded
blueprint,
enemy
thank goodness.
transmissions, we have also
Alright, now we'll be heading
discovered
back to the orbiter,
communications.
and I'll talk about everything else. And I'll check the blueprint. To see if I can build it. If I can, I'll use it as an affinity farm mostly, because I like my Redeemer. Plasma sword. Plasma sword, plasma sword, plasma sword. There it is. It's blade that delivers high damage attacks. High percentage of critical strikes. I'll go ahead and build that. Alright. Was I building anything else? No, I guess I wasn't. Okay. Now we'll go over basic stuff. Got a weapon slot, good. We'll go over basic stuff now. We'll go over Warframes first and foremost. And we'll go over the arsenal while we're at it. When you start the game, you won't have access to any of this. You'll just have access to this right here, and you'll be able to go do stuff. Your first few missions won't give you access to all the orbiter segments. You'll have to get the arsenal segment. Or no, I think you start with the arsenal segment, but the arsenal here is basically where you can do really anything. You can equip weapons, equip friends, equip companions. Not friends, but well, I might as well put you on. Vacuum. We'll go over these in a minute, these mods. Now, from the arsenal, you can change your Warframe, you can change your primary, secondary, and melee weapons. You can change your companions, and you can set up gear. We'll start with Warframes. And I'll go ahead and tell you right now, before I do anything, all these stats over here on the right-hand corner of the screen, they don't really mean anything. I mean, they do. it's important to have a high shield, armor, and blah blah blah. But honestly, just play it's kind of like Dark Souls or Bloodborne. Just play what you're comfortable with. Find a frame you like and play with it, regardless of stats. Like Ash Prime, I'm currently using Ash Prime. I started with the Mag and then I bought Nidus with real world money because the PlayStation 4 starter pack is really good. Nidus has no shields, but he has a lot of armor and a lot of health, and he regenerates health. Because, without a shield, it's kind of hard not to die if you don't regenerate health. Because Warframes don't actually heal unless you find a health orb. But you've got a pretty wide selection of different Warframes that all play very differently. They all do different things. They all have a specialty. Like Ash specializes in stealth. If you like a more stealthy approach to gameplay, you'd like Ash. Uh, he has teleport abilities, silent abilities. Shuriken is his starting ability. It's silent. It's very good. He does a lot. He has a bonus to bleed damage. Mag is one of the 3 starting frames. She's pretty solid. She's more of an energy-based Warframe compared to Excalibur, who is more of a fight hand like a traditional fighting Warframe. She's got more shields, less armor, of course. You've got who is Atlas, who is more about armor and energy. He's a big guy. He's a big guy. You've got Banshee. Basically just if you've got the real world money to spend, look through all the Warframes and find one that you like. Find one that you think would support your playstyle. If you like co-op play, Harrow would be a good Warframe. He's not very good for solo play. He doesn't really have any solo skills, but he's very good for co-op. If you like bows, you'd like Avara. He's very bow-based. Inaros has no shields, but a lot of health. A whole lot of health. And he's not very good for co-op, because when he goes down in combat, he steals health from enemies and friendlies. Hydroid Prime's coming out soon, so don't even worry about Hydroid. Just look through all the Warframes and find one that you like the appearance of. If you like the appearance, if you like the abilities they have, don't worry about their stats. Just find one that you like. Just you like, there's really nothing more to it. Just find one that you think you'd have fun with. I mean, the specialties and the stats are nice, but it doesn't really apply. Like I like Nidus. Despite not having a shield, I think Nidus is a lot of fun. I like Ash. I don't play too stealthily, but I like Ash anyway. Um, I like Necros because I'm edgy. Rhino's good. You know, it's find a Warframe you like. If you play support, there's plenty of Warframes that do support. Trinity, of course. Harrow, like I said earlier. Oberon. Uh, if you like elemental damage, there's plenty of Warframes that support elemental damage. Saren is a poison damage, very toxic heavy. Volt is all about electricity, if you'd expect. Mirage, if you like stealth, and Subterfuge. Uh, Frost is all about ice. I mean, what you expect. Ember's about fire. Sound. If you want a technical Warframe, Equinox. Equinox has 2 forms, day and night, which one is aggressive and one is defensive. One is more support and one is more offense. Uh, but basically, just find. It's kind of like playing a fighting game. Find one that you vibe with, one that you mesh with, one that feels good for you. and go from there. You can really play through the whole game with one Warframe. You really don't need more than one Warframe. If you find the one you like the most, that's all you need. You don't need any more. But it's always nice to have multiple for mastery, which we'll go over in a minute. But anyway, let's jump into weapons. In Warframe, you have 3 weapons. You have your primary, your secondary, and your melee. And now, stats on these really don't matter. Again, just find one you like. I really like the Daikyu. It's just a really strong bow. I like the Latron. It's just a semi-automatic rifle, you know. Just find a weapon that feels good to you. There's a weapon that'll support any kind of playstyle. If you like silent stuff, you can get the Daikyu or the Cernos or the Paris, or really any. There's a couple silent weapons. Uh, Most bows are silent, aside from the Lens, and I think there's one other bow that isn't silent, but I can't think of it. Uh, if you want a stealthy approach, go for bows or crossbows. Both crossbows are silent as well. You know, there's shotguns if you like to be up close and personal. There's flak cannons, laser guns, automatic rifles. You know, guns that have health steal, harpoon guns, scepters that explode and shoot explosives, saw blade guns. There's really everything you need. Any a laser cannon. If you can think of it, it's probably in here. If you can think of a weapon you'd like, it's probably here. Uh, you know, that doubles as a melee weapon. That shoots 7 lasers. If you can think of a weapon type you'd like, it's probably in here. All you have to do is look, and of course, a lot of weapons are mastery locked when you start the game. You know, you have to level up your mastery, which again we'll talk about. Grenade launchers, cannon. There's a cannon. Uh, Long range rifles, DMRs. But there's a lot of different weapon types, and if you can think of a weapon type and you think you'd like it, just grab a version of it. Like if you like shotguns and you're playing early, grab a Strun. And if you like the Strun, you'll probably like other shotguns. You know, a lot of the shotguns are kind of the same. A lot of guns are kind of the same. A lot of the bows are, they're bows. They do what bows do. They shoot arrows and they're quiet. A lot of the laser guns shoot lasers. Shotguns shoot shotgun shells, multiple projectiles. Flak cannons shoot flak. Um, but don't worry about stats. Don't worry about damage numbers because that's all really confusing and it really doesn't matter. Just find what feels good to you and work with that. And the same goes with secondary weapons. Secondary weapons, you've got handguns and you've got hand shotguns. You've got ninja stars, kunai, a handheld rocket launcher, handheld lasers, crossbows, etc., etc. You've got everything you could possibly think of. A rocket launcher, magnums, a radio wave or a microwave gun, a 3-round burst pistol. Anything you can really think of is in here. And if you think it'd be cool to use it, get it and see if you like it. If you want big knives, you can get big knives. If you want a shotgun, you can get a shotgun. Again, just play around with everything and see what you like. Because what you like is more important than what does more damage. And I don't really care about my secondary. I really don't. I don't use my secondary that often. I haven't found one that I like a lot yet. I mostly just use my bow. But you want to keep one. You want to keep one just in case, because it'd be good to have one. You know, it's mastery level and all that. And melee weapons, you know, same thing. Broken record. Just find what feels good. Find what you like. You've got shield combos. You've got staves. You've got whips, fist weapons, scythes, tonfas. You know, thrown melee weapons. Mine has a gun in it, which is cool. Rapiers, twin swords, dual blades, daggers, axes, hammers, machetes, great swords, pole arms, you know, thrown hammers, maces. You know, if you can think of it, it's here. Kusarigama, that's new. A boomerang, because those are cool. If you can think of it, it's in here. And if you think it'd be cool, get it and use it. And if you like it, you like it. Use it until the end of the game. Use it until you stop playing. Because every weapon works. Everything works. No weapon is absolute garbage. It just depends on what you like to use. Like, I like my shotgun. My little shotgun dagger thing. It's a lot of fun to use. I like dual cleavers. Those are fun. The glaive is good. Quick draw katanas. You know, if you like a weapon, you like a weapon, and that's the weapon you should stick with. If you like dual swords, you got dual swords. If you like dual daggers, you got dual daggers. You know, just find something you like and use it. Don't worry about the stats. Honestly, really don't. Because that's a whole lot of numbers that is just gonna just stress you out. Like, they really don't make much of a difference. There's always gonna be something better. Is there a war axe? There's a couple, I think. Sindo's a battle axe. Well, I guess it's a war axe. Akin Brunt is an axe and a shield, which I can almost get. I just need to go fight Tilregger. Uh, you just find something you're comfortable with and use it. You want shields? We got shields. You want fists? We got fists. You want stuff you can throw? We got that. It's all here. Just check it out. Use it. As far as companions go, you know, you've got all these little dudes. You've got sentinels that float around and help you out. They all do something different. I'm not too fond of sentinels. I don't really keep very many. Uh, I've only ever had one on the Xbox, and it was this one, and I liked him. He had a sniper rifle in him, but don't really worry about those early on. You don't really want to worry about gear early on, because I might need more of those. Because gear really doesn't play a huge part in the game, unless you're doing synthesis scans for Cephalon Samaris, which I'll explain. But that's really all I can tell you about weapons. We'll go into the foundry real quick. Once you get the foundry segment, you'll be able to start building stuff. And to build something, you need to get the blueprint beforehand. So for prime parts, you can get the blueprints out of relics, which you'll get later on as you play through the game. You'll get more and more relics, which will give you prime blueprints or prime parts. To create a blueprint, to create something from a blueprint, you'll have to get all the parts necessary, which usually for weapons and most other things consists of stuff you can find in the game, such as all the things you need for ether daggers, the morphics, and all that. You can find all that playing through the game, but for prime weapons or for warframes, like I've got the Chroma blueprint, for example, you'll need the Neuroptics systems chassis and some other part, an Orkin cell or circuits, or for Chroma, a different Warframe part. before you can put that Warframe together. And a Warframe will take about 3 days to complete when you build the full blueprint. But before you can even get to the full blueprint, you're going to have to build the actual parts of the Warframe, the systems, the neuroptics, the chassis, all that. Which will take the normal components like weapons. Will take about 12 hours, will cost credits. Don't forget to have enough credits. And once you built all 3 of those, or all 4 of those, then you can build your Warframe for, the amount of credits necessary. And it will use up all those parts in building the Warframe. Now, as far as a prime frame goes, such as Ash Prime that I have right now, prime blueprints for prime frames can be found in relics, such as this one, or no, we'll talk about the Lith S4. It has a very low chance to drop a Saren Prime blueprint out of it. Now, if I were to get the Saren Prime blueprint, I would still need Saren Prime's neuroptics and all that. It's a separate set of materials for a prime Warframe. And to get those, you'll have to get them out of relics, which can make prime frames a little annoying to get. You can always go to trade chat and try and find full sets that people are selling, which a lot of people do. You can spend real life money on that or trade for them. If you really want a prime frame really bad and you've got the platinum, you can just ask somebody in trade chat if they have it and see how much they're selling it for. And there you go. You've got your prime frame. Now that we've talked about the foundry and the arsenal, we'll talk about the mods. The mod system is how you improve your weapons and your Warframe further beyond leveling up. Such as you can get continuity, which makes your abilities last longer, or intensify, which makes your abilities stronger, streamline, which makes your abilities better, things like that. These drop randomly from enemies or mission rewards. And you want to keep up with these. Not too much, because you're going to get a lot of them, and it's going to be kind of hard to keep up with all of them. But you want to try and memorize what you have and what works for you. Like piercing hit and pressure point is very important. You always want a pressure point mod. You want redirection. You want vitality. Those are 3 that I'd say you always want. Our pressure point, redirection, and vitality. Thief's Wit is also really nice to have. But once you get into mods, you've got 4 options up here. You've got Fusion, which you can use to, we'll take just a random one here. We'll take, we'll just take, no, not ammo drum. What do I have? Dual swords. Dual daggers. Stance mods we'll talk about in a second. You've got melee mods, weapon mods, Warframe mods, and stance mods. And you can find all of them in here, and aura mods. So we'll take this, we'll put it in here. You go to Fusion, you have the option to spend your Indo and your credits to make a mod better. Credits can be found by doing missions, completing missions, killing things, breaking things, and they're your go-to currency. Indo is a little harder to find. It's less likely to spawn in a normal mission. It's a little rare, and it's new to me, at least. Back when I used to play, before I got this back, you could just put mods together and it was a lot easier. But you want to keep track of your Indo and your credits. And you can spend both to upgrade a mod and give it a better, make it better. Like right now at level 2, my physique gives me plus 9% max health. At level 3, it would give me plus 12% max health, but it would take 1 extra mod slot. You have a limited amount of mod slots on a Warframe and a weapon. Always remember that. Watch how many slots you have. Like, For example, my Ash Prime right now has 26 slots. Only 7 of which are available because of the current mods I have on. So keep track of that. Make sure you've got enough space for the mods you want. If you don't, clear up some space. And you've got these right here, these little symbols, which are your polarities. If you put a mod with a matching polarity into that, like for example, if I take Serration off my die queue and I put Rifle Aptitude on, it takes 1 extra slot to use. But if I put Serration on, it removes a slot. It makes it cost less to use effectively. And not every weapon has stuff like that. Not every weapon has polarities on it. So pay attention to your polarities. Make sure you know what they are. Make sure you know what matches them. And make sure you have mods that match them in the right slots. But let's go into another one. You have Transmute, which basically will take... we'll just take 4 random mods. Let's see what I have in my duplicates. We'll just take 2, 3, 4. You can put 4 random mods into the Transmute box, and it will combine those 4 mods, and it can either give you a rare mod, or it can just give you a new mod that's not as good as all 4 of them put together. You can't combine more than 4 mods, you can't combine less than 4. And basically that's a luck of the draw kind of thing. You might get something better, you might not. It's generally pretty expensive. Sell is pretty self-explanatory, you know. You slap something in there, it gives you credits for it. Dissolve is basically the same thing as Sell, except instead of credits it gives you Indo. And it's not a lot very often, so you're better off selling than you are dissolving unless you really need the Indo. Iaton Treasures, you've got these little sculptures that I don't even understand. You know, don't worry about that. Get on the Wikipedia for those. But that about covers mods. You know, just check your polarities, check your slots. Make sure you don't have too many or too little. Make sure you've got everything you need before you go out on a mission. You know, just pay attention to all that. We'll check out the market. Here's where you can buy stuff for real people money. You know, you can buy Warframes. Or if you want, you can buy the blueprints for Warframes. Which some are harder to make than others, of course. And of course, if you buy the blueprints, you'll have to find all the blueprints for the systems and whatnot. You can buy the blueprints for weapons. Of course, some weapons you'll have to go to your dojo to get the blueprints for. We'll talk about that next. You know, you can buy equipment like boosters, which will give you more stuff for a certain amount of time. You can buy mods, mod packs, Indo packs. You can buy components. You can buy landing crafts, which really don't matter. Don't waste your money on landing crafts. You can buy crafting components. I forget what that does. Additional Exilus slot. You can buy packs of items that you normally wouldn't be able to find. Early on, you won't be able to find nanospores, so you can just come in here and buy 3,000 a piece. You can buy keys and drones, which you'll need for way later on. Don't worry about keys and drones early on, because early on you really don't need them. Extractors you don't really need early on. None of this stuff you need early on. None of this is very necessary early. All of this is late game stuff. which you really won't need as soon as you start the game. Gear, you can buy all this, which we talked about. Color palettes, don't really worry about those. You don't need those unless you just have money to spend. Slots, you'll need, because you only got so many slots to have warframes and weapons in. And the only way to get more is to either buy a new weapon with platinum or to buy slots themselves, which is generally a lot cheaper. Or sell stuff to clear up your slots, of course. You've got companions, but you can buy Kubros and Kavats, or, well, accessories for them, of course. You'd have to finish the mission beforehand. Don't really worry about those. Don't really worry about accessories and cosmetics. Again, unless you've just got money to throw around. Because you really don't need it. It's not going to help you. You know, all this stuff isn't going to make you any better. It's just going to exist and make you look like you had money. It's really more or less kind of a waste of money, unless you've just got the money. But, you know, bundles, you have bundles of warframes that come with weapons and cosmetics, and will immediately allow you to skip the mastery rank needed to use these weapons or warframes. Mag, Trinity, and Ember, Banshee, Nyx, and Saren. You know, these are useful if you've got a lot of platinum. You can get a lot of good stuff really early on. Like, you can get, for this you can get a mod that you normally wouldn't be able to get until way later in the game. You know, you can get warframes that you normally wouldn't be able to get. You can get weapons that are locked behind high mastery or really early. Tenogen is all fan-made stuff, fan-designed stuff. These are all things that fans have designed and they put into the game. So, you know, if you want some cool stuff that people have made, you can come check this out. Prime access is how you get Prime stuff. And then, of course, you can buy platinum with real people money. But that's the marketplace, you know. It's pretty self-explanatory. Your codex is where you can find your quests, which will unlock as you progress through the game. You can find information about warframes and weapons. You can find training to help you out a little bit. You can find missions, mission types. Once you reach mastery level 3, you can unlock a syndicate, which that blue bar is your mastery level. And when that, able to upgrade your mastery through a test, and you'll have access to more stuff in the shop. Now, to fill up that blue bar, you have to upgrade, level up your weapons and your warframe, which is done by using them in a mission. Just really doing anything in a mission will get you affinity, that is basically experience, and will level up your weapons and whatnot. Now let's go into the dojo. Here you've got your dojo. Clan Dragon Maids, don't judge me. Early on, it's a really bad idea to try and build a dojo by yourself. Like, it's a really bad idea. Because it's really hard to build one by yourself. It costs a lot. If you can manage to join a clan that has a built dojo, you know, do it. It'll help out a whole lot. But if you choose to build a solo dojo, you know, through whatever force of will that you have, it's going to be expensive. It costs a lot of forma, it costs a lot of materials, but it'll give you access to a lot of cool stuff. If I could recommend it, though, I'd recommend joining a clan that has a pre-built dojo. That way you've just already got access to everything. Now, let's go into the navigation menu. This is where the action happens. If you hit R1 or RB, or whatever it is on PC, You'll get this menu here, which has your quests, your alerts, which give you special items but don't last all day. You know, this one's only got 36 minutes left on it. You've got invasions, which can give you stuff if you do the missions for the right group. They take about 3 days to actually go all the way through and get your rewards. You've got your syndicate standings, and you've got void missions, which you need to do to get into your void relics and, you know, get your prime stuff out of them. That's the only way to crack a void relic, is to go into a void mission and actually do it all the way to completion. Now we'll go into mission types. You have all these planets you can go to right off the bat. Well, not even right off the bat, you start at Earth, but mission types, you have exterminates, which are your run-of-the-mill kill everything that moves. Some of the easiest missions to do. You've got capture missions, which hunt down a marked enemy and hurt them enough that they fall down and then capture them. Interceptions, which are the tower mission that I just did recently. Defense missions, defend a certain point for X amount of waves, as long as you can go. Excavation missions suck, don't ever do them. Mobile defense, which is basically defense, but you move from point to point, so you've done 3 defenses usually. Sabotage, go to a point, mess up whatever it is, leave. Assassination missions, kill a boss, basically. Defense, again, you know, rescue, find a prison cell and get the prisoner out, keep them alive. Arcwing missions, which are basically the same, but they're in space. And then you've got junctions, which will let you travel to different planets, but to unlock a junction, you have to do a certain amount of things on the planet. Like, you have to do the quest and then all that. To get to Mars, to get to Venus, you have to do all that. And then, oh, never mind. In every junction, you will have to fight a Spectre of Warframe. And then you can move on to the next planet. And then you've got a whole new set of missions to do. You've got all kind of stuff you can do again. You've got more assassinations, and you've got more junctions. Try and get as many junctions done as you can, because it'll make the game a lot better if you can go to more places. I think there was a spy mission around here somewhere. Spy missions are basically, you know, stay stealthy and hack into some computers. If they catch you, they'll destroy the data, etc., etc. You've got locked nodes when you start a planet. When you start a planet, you'll generally have the first node closest to the junction. To get more nodes, you have to clear them in a row. I haven't unlocked this because I don't want to do excavation. And so on and so forth. Mainly, you want to make a beeline for the next junction before you do anything. And then you can worry about the outlying nodes. You've got nightmare missions, which make things harder. They remove your shield and they'll put another negative attribute on your Warframe. But once you've cleared every node of a planet, once you've beaten every node, you can drop an excavator once you buy the blueprint and build it, which will collect all of these for you over the course of about 8 hours. And then you pick it back up and you'll get at least one of these. You'll get one of these in full. With the higher it is, the more likely you are to get it. Like on Earth, you're more likely to get ferrite and less likely to get detonite. You know, you want to pay attention to what you can get on each planet. Generally, the lower it is, the rarer it is. Like, Field Drawn is a lot harder to get on Mars than it is to get on Jupiter. And then you've got Void, which is way over here. It's more of a challenge area. You know, you can't go anywhere from Void, but you can do some hard missions. And it's the only place to get Argon crystals, which decay 24 hours from the midnight you get them. But to move around the nodes and the universe, when you float over a planet, you'll see these little lines, and that tells you what planet connects to which. Like from Earth, you can go to Mars, and then to Ceres, and all the way around. And only a handful of planets will connect to Void. You can't get to Pluto from anywhere other than Neptune, or Eris, I think. But Eris can't be gotten to unless you go to Pluto. You can't get to Mercury unless you go from Venus, and etc. Pay attention to where you can go, where you can't go. Early on, you'll have Earth, and you're going to want to try and get to Mars as early as you can. Of course, to get to Mars, you'll have to get to Venus first. You just want to move around at your own pace. Don't rush anything. You know, it takes time. And as you progress through the game and do more quests, more nodes will appear. Like, once you finish Second Dream, Lua will appear over here, and you'll have another planet you can go to. Uh, a certain mission will unlock the Derelict over here. I think it's over here at least. You know, pay attention to where you can go and where you need to go. Pay attention to who owns each planet. Warm gaseous planets are generally Grineer, whereas colder planets and moons are usually Corpus. The Corpus use laser weapons, the Grineer use bullet weapons. You know, it really doesn't matter who you're fighting, they all die just as easy. Some planets have infested on them, which are basically zombies. You know, they're not that bad. Some nodes on planets have I don't think there's any just infested planets. But anyway, you've got relays, which are where you can go to meet up with friendly people, other players. You can go to Maru's Bazaar to trade things with other people. You can go to Strata to get quests and mastery levels and whatnot. If you have an active quest, you'll see this symbol. It'll replace a current node with that symbol and replace whatever you do with that node with the quest, such as Limbo Neuroptics, when that is regularly a spy mission, I think. You know, if it's a nightmare, it'll be in red. If it's an alert, it'll have the alert symbol on it. If it's a solar rail, which is just complicated and stupid, it'll have the Tenno symbol. If it's a syndicate area, it'll have the syndicate symbol on it, like that. It'll have the symbol of your syndicate, telling you can go there and earn more standing to buy things from your syndicate. You have crossfire missions, which generally have 2 different enemy types in them. Don't worry about it, just kill everybody. But I think that about covers mission types. You know, a lot of places are going to be harder than others. Void is one of the hardest places in the game. You don't want to go there early. You know, you don't want to go to Void as fast as you can. You want to take your time before you go to Void. Like, if you can get to Phobos early and get to Void, you don't want to do it right off the bat. You want to level a lot. You want to grind up. You want to, you know, try your best to get stronger before you go there, because you'll get messed up. But I think that about covers missions. You've got your news over here, which will send you straight to your web browser. You've got Conclave, which is your PvP, player versus player action. And I think that about covers everything in the lander. You can only go there if you have Nidus, or you've done a Glass Gambit quest later on. But yeah, I think that about covers everything in the lander. That about covers mission types, that covers navigations. We'll go into moving. I'll just do it from here because I don't want to load up a mission. You have a normal walking speed, which is just used by moving the left stick. You have a running speed, click the left stick and you'll sprint. You have a roll, you have a slide, you have bullet jumping, you have wall latching, you can wall jump. You know, just take the time to learn how to move before you really go out and do anything important. because it'll help to know how to move, to be able to move quickly. If you haven't, if you have chat on, which I don't, you know, you can turn it on from here, turn it on or off from your options, chat options, and then hitting your left trigger will open chat up where you can talk to other people about getting into a clan or trading things. You know, be respectful, follow the rules, don't get banned. Incubator, we'll talk. Don't even need to talk about Incubator. It's late game stuff. Can't get in there unless you have Nidus, already said that. Or Glass Gambit, of course, which is a late game quest. But I think that about covers all the basics that comes to Warframe. You know, that covers building and Warframes and selections. I think that about covers everything you need to know if you're just starting the game. So I hope this was helpful for anybody that watches it. For anybody that watches now, I hope it was helpful. For anybody that'll watch this, that's watching this on the YouTube, I hope it helps. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, follow the Twitch channel. It helps a lot. And be sure to tell me if you want to see more Warframe content, because I don't know if it really necessitates uploading, but I like playing it. So, but anyway, hope this helped. Big thanks to everybody that tuned in. Thanks to everyone that will tune in, and you can catch me here every night.